Everyone talks about becoming a millionaire. Nobody admits most people never even reach $250,000 invested. And that number should bother you more than 1 million ever will. Because $250,000 is where things finally start working for you. It's where compounding stops being theoretical and starts becoming visible. It's the point where your money can realistically grow by 10, 15, even $20,000 in a good year without you adding a single dollar. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people never get there. Not because they're stupid, not because they don't earn enough, but because of a handful of repeatable, predictable behaviors that quietly keep them stuck between $0 and $100,000 for decades. And the worst part? These behaviors feel completely reasonable while you're doing them. Hey, I'm Brian, and I spend way too much time thinking about why normal, intelligent people stay broke longer than they should. If you care about getting your money right, hit subscribe. Think of it as peer review for your financial decisions. Probably the highest return on time you'll get today. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why most people never reach $250,000 invested, using real numbers, real timelines, and the actual cost of these decisions. It's going to feel a little uncomfortable. Good. That means it's working. Reason 1, starting too late. The first reason is simple, and it's brutal. You start too late, or you never really start at all. Now this sounds reasonable. Your 20s are chaotic. You're figuring out your career, paying rent, maybe dealing with debt. Investing feels like something you'll get serious about later. But here's the thing. Later is expensive. Let me show you what this actually costs you. If you invest $500 per month starting at age 25, earning an average of 8% per year, by age 45 you'll have about $297,000. Same exact person. Same exact $500 per month. But you wait 10 years and start at 35 instead. By 45, you have about $92,000. That's a $200,000 difference for the exact same effort. Nothing about that gap comes from working harder. It comes from time. People who actually succeed don't wait for the perfect moment. They start while it's messy, while it's inconvenient, while it feels small, because they understand something most people don't. The first decade matters more than the next two combined. Delay isn't harmless. It's expensive. Reason 2, not investing enough. The second reason is quieter, but just as damaging. You invest, just not enough. Here's what happens. You contribute the minimum. Maybe 5%, maybe 6% of your salary. It feels responsible. It feels like you're doing your part. And technically you are. But here's what nobody tells you. Participating is not the same as progressing. Let me show you. If you earn $50,000 per year and invest 6%, that's $3,000 annually. Over 30 years at 8% returns, you end up with roughly $373,000. Now take the same person, same salary, same timeline, but they invest 15% instead. That's $7,500 per year. After 30 years, they have about $932,000. Same life, same income, different decision. That's a $500,000 gap created purely by contribution rate. People who reach $250,000 early and go far beyond it treat investing like a priority, not an afterthought. They don't ask, what's the minimum I can get away with? They ask, what would actually move the needle? Because small percentages create small outcomes. Reason 3, cashing out retirement accounts. The third reason is one of the most common and one of the most destructive. You cash out your investments when you change jobs. Again, it feels reasonable. You leave a company, you see $20,000 sitting there, and you think, I could really use this right now. And maybe you can. But here's what that decision actually costs you. If you leave that $20,000 invested at age 30, earning 8% annually, by age 65 it becomes roughly $200,000. One decision, one withdrawal. And here's where it gets worse. Most people don't do this once. They do it multiple times across their career. 20,000 here, 15,000 there, maybe 10,000 later. Each time, you're not just taking money out. You're resetting compounding back to zero. People who build real wealth treat those accounts like they don't exist. They roll them over. They protect them. They leave them alone. Because they understand this isn't spare money. It's future decades. If you're new here and just subscribed, comment your name below. I read every comment and shout out new subscribers in my next video. I do appreciate you joining me on this finance journey. Reason 4. Paying too much in fees. The fourth reason is almost invisible. You're paying too much in fees, and you don't even notice it. 1% doesn't sound like a big deal. 2% sounds manageable. But here's the thing. Fees don't come out once. They come out every single year, and they compound against you. Let me show you. If you invest $500 per month for 30 years at 8% returns, you'd expect to end up with around $740,000. But if you're paying just 1% in fees, your return drops to 7%. Now you end up with about $607,000. That's a loss of over $130,000 to fees alone. At 2% in fees, the outcome drops even further, and now you're losing nearly $250,000. That's the milestone we've been talking about. Gone. People who succeed don't chase complex strategies. They reduce friction. They minimize fees. They keep more of what they earn. Because they know what you don't lose matters just as much as what you gain. Reason 5. Panic selling. The fifth reason is emotional. You panic when the market drops, and you sell. Now, to be fair, this is human. When your account drops 20%, 30%, it feels like something is wrong, like you need to act. Doing nothing feels irresponsible. But here's the reality. The market has always recovered. Every major drop, eventually followed by growth. The damage doesn't come from the drop. It comes from what you do during the drop. Let's say you have $100,000 invested, and the market falls by 30%. You're now at $70,000. You panic. You sell. Then the market recovers the following year by 40%, which isn't unusual after a crash. But you're not invested anymore. That $70,000 could have become $98,000 in a single year. Instead, you locked in the loss. Over decades, missing just a handful of the best recovery days can cost you over $100,000 in lost growth. People who actually reach $250,000 and far beyond don't react emotionally to volatility. They expect it. They stay invested because they understand something most people learn too late. Volatility is temporary, but selling makes it permanent. Reason 6. No clear plan. The sixth reason is less obvious, but it quietly sabotages everything. You don't have a clear plan. Now this sounds harmless. You're investing. You're putting money in regularly. You feel like you're doing the right thing. But here's the thing. If you don't know your target, you don't know if you're behind. Let me show you what this actually costs you. Let's say you invest $500 per month for 10 years at 8%. You end up with about $91,000. That sounds decent. But if your actual goal is $250,000 by year 15, you're already off track, and you don't even realize it. Now compare that to someone who starts with the same $500 per month, but they actually calculate their target. They realize they need closer to $900 per month to hit $250,000 in 15 years. So they adjust early. By year 15, they're on target or very close. Same person, same market, completely different outcome. People who succeed don't just invest. They reverse engineer their goals. They know their number. They track progress. Because drifting feels like progress until you realize you've gone nowhere. Reason 7. Prioritizing everything else. The seventh reason is uncomfortable because it's not about income. It's about priority. You invest what's left over after everything else. Housing, car payments, subscriptions, eating out, upgrades. And then, if there's anything remaining, you invest. And again, this feels normal. It feels balanced. But here's what this actually costs you. Let's say you earn $60,000 per year. If you invest just 5%, $3,000 annually, at 8% over 30 years, you end up with about $460,000. Now take the same income, but you invest 15% instead, $9,000 annually. Now you end up with roughly $1,400,000. Same life, same salary, a nearly $1 million difference, based purely on priority. People who build real wealth don't invest what's left. They build their life around investing first, and then adjust everything else. Because if investing is optional, your future becomes optional too. Reason 8. Wrong investment mix. The eighth reason is strategic. You're either too conservative or too aggressive, and both cost you more than you think. Let's start with too conservative. If you keep most of your money in low-return assets earning around 4% instead of 8%, your growth gets cut in half. $500 per month at 4% for 30 years becomes about $340,000. At 8%, that same $500 becomes around $740,000. That's a $400,000 gap, just from playing it too safe. Now let's go the other direction. You chase individual stocks, trends, or hot opportunities and underperform the market by just 2% per year. Instead of earning 8%, you earn 6%. Now that same $500 per month for 30 years becomes about $500,000 instead of $740,000. That's another $200,000 loss. People who actually succeed don't guess. They don't swing between extremes. They build a balanced, boring portfolio, and they stick to it. Because consistency beats both fear and overconfidence. Reason 9. Stopping during hard times. The ninth reason is about interruption. You stop investing when life gets hard. And to be fair, life does get hard. Unexpected expenses, job changes, family responsibilities. It happens. So you pause your contributions, just for a while. But here's what this actually costs you. If you're investing $500 per month, that's $6,000 per year. Skipping just 1 year doesn't just cost you $6,000. Over time, that missed year could have grown to around $30,000 or more. Now imagine you pause for 2 years. Or 3. That's $60,000 to $90,000 in lost future value from what felt like a temporary break. People who reach $250,000 don't avoid hard times. They just protect the habit. Even if they reduce contributions, they don't stop completely. Because once the habit breaks, restarting is harder than continuing. Reason 10. Giving up entirely. The 10th reason is the one that quietly ends the story. You give up. Not dramatically. Not all at once. You just start believing you're too far behind. You look at your account. Maybe you're 45 years old with $50,000 saved, and you think, what's the point? So you stop trying. But here's the truth nobody tells you. You're not out of the game. Let me show you. If you're 45 with $50,000 invested, and you contribute $800 per month at 8%, by age 60, you'll have roughly $250,000. You can still reach the milestone. Same person, same starting point. The difference is whether you continue or quit. People who succeed aren't always ahead. They're just the ones who didn't stop. Because giving up doesn't lock in where you are. It locks you out of where you could have been. You start too late. You don't invest enough. You cash out when you switch jobs. You lose money to fees you barely notice. You panic and sell at the worst possible time. You invest without a plan. You prioritize everything else first. You choose the wrong mix. You stop when life gets hard. And eventually, you consider giving up. Every single one of these is within your control. That's the uncomfortable part. Because it means if you don't reach $250,000 invested, it won't be random. It'll be predictable. So here's the reality. You either fix these patterns deliberately, consistently, starting now, or you become another person who looks up at 55 or 60 and wonders why it never came together. Time is going to pass anyway. Compounding is either working for you or it's working against you. And every year you delay deciding which side you're on, it gets more expensive.